Alright, let's take a quick look at build 56 of Howler 2019. And the big push in this build is to really improve the brush timeline and the creation of custom animated brushes. So let's just take a quick look at the brush menu. And you can see we've moved the brush timeline out into the open where it was used previously in this drop down menu here. So let's just grab a brush real quick. This is a brush with a single image in it, and I'll store this so we can look at it. Let's see, here it is. You can see there's really only one image in there, even though when we paint with that we do get some color variation. That's really not a animated brush. That's just a random hue, I believe, in here, hue and saturation in the brush settings. So that in itself is not an animated brush, although there are some nice things you can do with brush settings in general without creating a series of frames. But in this case, we're going to create a series of frames. Now, in the past, we created an anim brush by adding frames right here in the store brush filter. I'm not going to do that this time. Another way we could do that is holding down the, I believe it's the Alt key. And when you have an animation, you can Alt and select a custom brush using the custom brush selector tool, and then it'll pick up not just a single image, but it'll pick up all the images from the animation. So that's another way you could create a brush. But again, we're trying to simplify as much as possible the idea of animated brushes in general. So we've added a feature here, so it will just go ahead and if one doesn't exist, it'll go ahead and create one for you. So it'll say how many frames you want. 10 frames, that's fine. And then it'll load up the timeline, the brush timeline, that is. Another change here is that we've integrated the brush timeline plugin. It was formerly a plugin, and if you remember from ages ago, we used to have hundreds of plugins. Wrong button. I think it's Shift K. I'm not sure. Let's see. There it is. But now we only have so many dozens left because all those have been integrated. So as you can see, there's not a lot of plugins left that have not been integrated thus far, and most of these are things like mod players and things like that. So don't really require integration that highly. So anyways, getting back to the brush timeline, you can see that there's been some substantial interactivity improvements, or basic speed, and basically the speed at which you can scale the images, the frames, and that sort of thing. We've also made it possible to scrub through this brush. Once we create an animation, I'll show you that. So let's just make some color changes to this brush. I'll start with, say, blue, no, green, maybe red. I'm all red. And I'll create a keyframe in the first frame. Create a keyframe there. I'll go to the middle. I'll make it green. Create a keyframe there, and go to the end and make it blue, and create a keyframe there. So now, once we've rendered this, you can see, and we'll go ahead and keep that render. And you can see now we can scrub through that, or at least we could if we hadn't. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. If we hadn't those keyframes on there. Let's see. So now you can scrub through that. And there's some other changes here as well. There's a couple of bug fixes. Previously, the spline interpolation was stuck on linear for a few years. That was broken a few years back when we replaced all our button controls with newer ones. And little thing happened. We, instead of using it was basically drop-in compatible with the old brushes, except that the value was no longer true or false. It was 1 or 0. So that little thing kind of caused that to break. So those are some changes coming in build 56. Thanks for watching, and talk to you later.